Hi, my name's Yusuf. I am Lebanese. I'm 40 years old. I'm a current student at Victoria University doing a Bachelor in Community Development, and my aim is to help the disability sector and help society become more disability aware and create social change in the near future. The social model to me is around creating awareness for people with disabilities. So it's not just being viewed at from the physical perspective, it's more about also changing people's attitudes and educating them. And this is a way that we can treat them equally as people first and foremost without being discriminated from our society. One of my favourite quotes that I like to use is, it's up to society to adapt to the individual, not the individual adapt to society. I think that's really important. So the medical model is an idea where the person is labelled based on their disability or their impairment in a negative way by society. This is an idea which needs to be rethinked and re-looked at because this has a ripple effect on not only that individual but also on that particular individual's networks in terms of family, friends and society in general. Someone with a disability can have a meaningful life like everyone else is entitled to. So attitudinal barriers are how someone will treat someone based on maybe not knowing how to approach someone. They don't talk to that person, they'll talk to the support worker. And that's the attitudinal barriers that we're talking about. They don't talk to that person as a person, they look at them as an object. This is the problem. The reason why they don't understand is not because of that individual, it's because of society's attitude. Physical disabilities are only one aspect. I think the biggest thing that we need to look at is how people are treated regardless. I think that's the biggest thing, and I think that only comes through education and talking to people with disabilities and understanding what it's like for them. This is where I can use my own experience. Having a physical disability, I was labelled in my culture as someone who is sick and unable to be treated fairly. And I just think that in my culture, it's not because they are discriminative. I think it is an educational thing. I think they don't understand my disability. I'm not sick. It is a physical impairment. And unfortunately, this is what I experienced from within my own community. But again, it's not their fault. I think more education needs to be around what I actually have, which is cerebral palsy. And if they had known what cerebral palsy is from a minute level, which is what I have, a mild case of cerebral palsy, I think that wouldn't have happened and I wouldn't have experienced that. Well, first of all, they're listening to me, so they're already changing their attitudes. That's the first thing. Hopefully this is a stepping stone for that person who might not know what that feels like or might not know how to change their attitude towards people with disabilities, but this is a start. The first thing I would do is have a conversation with someone who has a disability. And if that's too hard for that person because you're limited in your language, got to find a way to break down those barriers. We can't just sit down and live in silence. Communication is key, education is key. So the fact that you're on a website watching this interview, hey, you're on the right course. You're on the right course. Oh, like I said, I think you missed out. I think you missed out. I think you missed out on me. I think you're missing out on what my strengths are, and you focused on my negatives rather than my strengths. So it's your loss, not mine. One of my favourite quotes is, advocacy is to change what is into what should be. And the reason why I use this is because you might not have a disability today. You might never have a disability in your lifetime. But you may, encounter. I reckon 95% of us will encounter some sort of barrier as we get older throughout life. And if it's not you, it'll be someone you know. So would you like them to be excluded from society because of their impairment regardless of their age? Don't you think that they have a right to also contribute to have a normal life? That's what I want the world to understand, that we all encounter some sort of challenges in life. We need to be supportive of that person to allow them to flourish regardless of their age or regardless of their barriers or where they're from.